Year, everybody. I hope you are having a good one so far. Here we go then. Yes, we are back together again. Nice to see you all here. And yes, it is a brand new year. Look at the view out of the window at the moment. It is raining. It is absolutely pouring with rain. It's also very warm. It does not feel like the 2nd of January. I have to be honest with you. It feels more like late March or maybe even early April. Here we go then. Yes, it's English Addict live once again. And yes, it is a brand new year. Dibby-dibby-doo. Here we go. Oh my goodness. It is now business as usual. Even though we have a new year, it is me once more, and I hope you are feeling good today as I make some slight adjustments. You might notice behind me it is raining. Yes, we are having some incredibly wet weather today. However, yesterday we had a beautiful day. It was lovely yesterday, sunny, warm. In fact, we had the warmest New Year's Day ever. 17 Celsius the weather was yesterday here in the UK. 17 Celsius. And that's midwinter. It's really crazy. And today is warm, but sadly it is also raining. As you can see behind me, the rain is really coming down quite fast. Hi everybody, this is Mr. Duncan in England. How are you today? Are you okay? I hope so. Are you feeling happy? I hope you are feeling good today because we are here once more. And yes, it's another English Addict, a new year, but sadly the same old face. I'm very sorry about that. So we have another 12 months of this to put up with, for which I apologise right now. Well, I suppose I should say one thing straight away. What can I say really, except Happy New Year? Here we go again. It's a new one. I hope your new year is going well so far. It feels very strange to be here. I will be honest, I've had a busy few days. We've had a special guest staying here with us during the post-Christmas period. So not actually at Christmas, but post-Christmas, which means, of course, after Christmas. So we had a special guest staying here, which meant, of course, that my studio had to be completely taken apart and cleared away. So it's never quite the same. Once I rebuild my studio and put it all back together, it's never quite the same. It always feels slightly different for some reason. I don't know why. So the rain is falling. I can't do anything about that. We don't have a very interesting view out of the window today, I'm afraid. It's just wet weather. So how has your year been so far? Has it been a good one? Have you had a good year so far? Has it been nice? I know it's only the second day, but I hope you've had a lovely day and a lovely 2 days, should I say, because we now have a new year. So I can't quite believe it, really. I will be honest with you. I feel as if last year started slowly, and then it started to get faster, and then it went slowly again, and then suddenly the last 3 months of last year went really fast. Or is it just my imagination? I don't know. Here we go then. Yes, Happy New Year, everyone. There it is, shining for you. 2022. We are now definitely in the future. It really does feel as if we are in the future. No flying cars at the moment, unfortunately. We're still working on that. I'm sure Elon Musk will come up with his flying car in the next couple of years. But yes, here we are in 2022, and we still don't have anything really that feels like something from a science fiction film. Everything's still pretty boring, to be honest, isn't it? We're not really doing anything that feels like we're living in the future. It does not feel very sci-fi, I have to be honest with you. I hope you are having a good day. Yes, we have the live chat as well. I'm not sure how many people will be here today because I'm sure some of you are still enjoying the festivities. I know that in some countries, Christmas is still waiting to be celebrated. So in some countries, I think it's around the 6th. Is it the 6th of January? Some people will be celebrating Christmas. So for those who have not yet celebrated Christmas, because of the difference in the calendar and the way the festivals are observed, I hope you have a super duper Christmas. It seems very strange wishing happy Christmas after Christmas. But yes, some people still are waiting to celebrate Christmas. And I suppose I should say also a big hello to the live chat. Hello, live chat. It's nice to see you here, back where you belong, right here live on YouTube. It's very nice to see you. How was your Christmas period? Was it nice? Was it relaxing? Did you receive anything nice from Father Christmas? I wonder. And I suppose also we could mention your plans for this year. So we are now in a new year, new plans, new resolutions. Oh, we are talking about New Year's resolutions today, and we're doing something a little different today. Mr. Steve, who will be with us in around about 15 minutes' time, and myself, we have decided to come up with some New Year's resolutions. However, we are doing something slightly different because we are doing them for each other. So I have written out some New Year's resolutions that I want Mr. Steve to follow. And, of course, Mr. Steve has written some New Year's resolutions for me to follow. However, we don't know what they are at the moment. So at the moment they are sealed in these envelopes. So I don't know what Mr. Steve has planned for me, and Mr. Steve doesn't know what I have planned for him. So we are going to reveal those a little bit later on, so that should be interesting. Maybe there will be a little bit of kicking, screaming, and maybe some scratching as well, and perhaps the occasional slap of the face. Who knows? I don't know yet, because we've only just started, you see. That's the reason why. Hello to the live chat again. Oh, very nice. Nice to see you here today. Who was first? Oh, very interesting. Euphonium. Hello to Euphonium. Guess what? You are first on the first live chat of 2022. Thank you very much, and congratulations, Euphonium 888. Also we have Mosen. Hello Mosen, you were second today. Also we have Valentin, Marwa, or should I say Marwa, with an echo. Some people like the echo, some people don't. Hello also to Tomek. Hello Tomek. How was your Christmas? Did you check your tyre pressure like Mr. Steve mentioned last week? Have you checked it? Have you been outside and given your tyres a kick? Have you Have you kicked anything else over the past few days? Oh, we also have Luis Mendez is here today on a very rainy day here in England. Yes, this is coming to you live from England. For those wondering what is going on, that is what is happening. Hello, Beatrice. Hello also to Christina. Oh, we have a little surprise coming later on, by the way. In fact, it was a surprise for me as well. I was very surprised by what happened, to be honest. Hello also to... we have Rosa. Hello, Rosa. Nice to see you here as well. So many people joining us on the live chat today. Oh, I can't keep up. I really can't keep up. You are so fast on the live chat. I'm having difficulty keeping up with you. So today we have New Year's resolutions. Mr. Steve will be suggesting some New Year's resolutions to me, and the opposite way round as well. I will be suggesting some to him also. There it is, the view outside right now. And yes, it is a little bit gloomy. It's wet. It's raining. Although we are not having any snow, unlike some parts of the world that have had a lot of snow. Japan, I noticed on the news yesterday, Japan has had quite a lot of snow. There have been wildfires in the United States, monsoons and tornadoes in other parts of the world. But here it is wet, it is windy, it is dull, as you can see right now. So that's the state of things right now here in the UK. I don't know what the weather is like where you are because I'm not there, you see. I hope you've had a good rest. Did you get a chance to have some rest and relaxation? I hope you did. I'm not sure if we did because we had a special guest staying with us. So we were very busy taking care of our very important person. Ooh, who was that? I wonder. Find out a little bit later on. We also have... Oh, hello to... Who else is here? Let's have a look. We have Sandra. We also have Marcia. Hello, Mr. Duncan. Hello, my dear friends. Happy New Year. Happy New Year. I wonder how long it will take before that becomes a little bit tedious. A lot of people saying Happy New Year. Happy New Year. 2022 has arrived. All I can say is I'm very glad to see that 2021 has disappeared, although it wasn't as bad as 2020. If I had to choose between those 2 years, I think 2020 was much worse than 2021 from my point of view. It remains to be seen what 2022 will be like. We will have to all wait and see. Hello, Zudzika. Nice to see you here as well. So many people joining in on today's live chat already. Thank you very much. Yes, this is English Addict. Maybe it is your first time watching this. Maybe you've never seen this before. I like to talk about the English language, but we do things a little differently. So there is no whiteboard, there is no squeaky pen, it is just myself, and on Sundays, of course, we have Mr. Steve joining in as well. Can I say a big special thank you? I have received some more lovely donations to my PayPal fund. Thank you very much. Don't forget, everything I do here, I do for free. And I've been doing this for free for the past 15 years. Can you believe it? I can't. Thank you very much to Dorothy Jacob, Massimo, Crociati, and also Angela van der Zanden for your lovely donations. Dorothy, Massimo and Angela, thank you very much for your lovely donations that I received as the new year started. Thank you very much. I was very, very pleased and also touched, moved to receive your lovely donations. Thank you very much. It's very kind of you. I know things are not great at the moment for many people around the world, so I appreciate your donations even more than I usually do. Thank you very much. I will mention you again later on, especially Dorothy. Hello, Dorothy. Yes, I have seen the thing that you have sent to me as well. We will be taking a look at that later on. Yes, someone has been very busy collecting some photographs of a certain YouTube English teacher. We will be having a look at those a little bit later on. So what about your new year? Has it been a good new year? Has it been a bad new year? I don't know. I know we're only on the second day, but you never know, you see. There might be problems. Something might be going wrong. I don't know because I'm not there. Hello also to... Oh, who do we have here? Diem Dung. Hello, Diem Dung. I believe, if I'm not mistaken, I think you are watching in Vietnam. Can I say a happy new year to Vietnam? And of course, you have your special new year coming up in 2 or 3 weeks, I think, as well. It is the Tet Festival that happens in Vietnam. The special new year, and I believe also the Chinese New Year is approaching. This year it is the tiger, the year of the tiger in the zodiac. So a lot of things still happening. Even though we've had Christmas and the New Year, there are still lots of festivals coming up around the world which we will not forget about. So don't worry, we won't forget them. Hello also. Oh, I see. Angela. Angela is actually now on the live chat. What are resolutions, Mr. Duncan? If you have resolutions, it means you have things that you plan to do. Your resolutions are the things that you say that you are going to do. You have plans for the future. Something you decide that you are going to do is a resolution. You have made a firm decision about something, or maybe a firm decision to do something. So normally at this time of year, lots of people make plans for the new year, things that they want to do, things that they want to carry out. Maybe there are some changes that people want to make in their lives. They will often make resolutions. Sometimes they will make a list of things that they want to do during the new year. So that is what we mean when we say resolutions. Your resolutions are the plans that you have for the future. These things are the things that you are going to do, or you are going to try to do. Because, as we all know, it's not easy keeping those resolutions. It's very hard to stick to your plans, especially if the changes are big ones. Some people make resolutions concerning their health. Maybe you have decided to do more exercise, or maybe to eat less food, or maybe to be kinder to other people, perhaps. We will see what Mr. Steve has planned for me a little bit later on. We have some guesses coming up now. Oh, yes. A lot of people saying, Mr. Duncan, we know who your special guest was. We know who it was. You might be right. We will have to wait and see. Mr. Steve will be explaining everything to us in a few moments. Oh, Tomek says, yes, I checked the air pressure on my bike just before I set out to a New Year's party at my friend's. Just for your information, we had lots of fun. Well, I'm glad you did. Parties are there for fun. You're supposed to have a good time at a party. So I'm very pleased to hear, Tomek, that you had a good time. Very nice. Hello also to Claudia. Oh, hello, Claudia. Nice to see you as well. Hello also to Baram. Hello, Baram. I'm just reading some of the comments on here. I'm not sure if I can read some of them out because they might be a little bit naughty, you see. Hello, Valentina. Hello to you. And apparently in the north of Italy, it is a beautiful, sunny, warm day. Can I just say that I'm very jealous? I am quite jealous because you are having nice, sunny weather in Italy. Here, well, as you can see behind me, it's not a great day. We are having lots of rain. Flower Espoir says, not everything that you plan can be done. That is true. So normally at the start of a new year, we will make some plans. We will have some resolutions, things that we want to try and do. But it doesn't mean we are going to be successful. So that is something you always have to bear in mind. You always have to think about these things carefully when you plan your New Year's resolutions. Are they realistic? Are they hard to achieve? Or are they going to be easy to achieve? So quite often, if you want to lose weight, if you want to become more healthy, to take more exercise, or maybe to be better in your job or nicer to the people around you, all of these things take a lot of effort. I think you are right, actually. Christina. Hello, Christina. I only make resolutions from 1 hour to the next. I have a feeling that your resolutions don't last very long. That's what I'm taking from that comment, to be honest. So, Mr. Steve will be here in a few moments, and I am going to leave you for a few, well, about 2 or 3, or maybe 4, or maybe 5, 6, or even 7 minutes. And then I will be back. Mr. Steve will be here as well. We are going to exchange our New Year's resolutions. Mr. Steve has some for me that I have to follow, and I have some for Mr. Steve. But the thing is, neither of us know what they are. Don't go away. Oh, hello there. Here we are again with another full English lesson, coming to you from the birthplace of all these people. Oh my goodness, that's a lot of people. And of course, this is also the place where the English language was created. That is, of course, England. So many words, so many phrases. And I hear you ask, where is the best place to learn all of those words and phrases? Right here on my YouTube channel is my reply. So stand by, because another full English lesson is going to start right now.
often receive questions and comments from my students concerning the process of learning English, for which I'm always happy to receive and, where possible, answer. One such question concerns the action of repeating things during the learning process. A common criticism is the tediousness of repetition. The hard fact is that repeating things is a large part of learning anything, whatever it happens to be. The action of repeating something is there. A baby must learn to walk by trying the same action again and again. A learner driver must undergo many training hours before getting it right. This also involves a great deal of repetition. So what about English? Is it really necessary to keep repeating words and phrases over and over? The answer to that question is yes. The most obvious benefit of repeating things comes when you want to get a new word or phrase to stay in here. Repeating things again and again will literally create new stored information in your brain. Yes, it might seem boring, and yes, it will take time to accomplish, but in the long run you will learn to appreciate the power of repetition. Whilst we are on the subject of repeating things, it is also worth mentioning that you need to get into the habit of learning new words and phrases every day. Don't shy away from absorbing new information. The secret is not to push yourself too far. A little learned every day will lead to a lot gained each month. As I always say, the important rules of learning English rely on the most basic actions. Read, listen, repeat, learn. There it is again, that magic word. Repeat, repeat, repeat. Here is something I haven't talked about for a very long time. The subject of opposite words is both fascinating and quite often confusing. A good example is the opposite of bend. As a verb, the opposite word is in fact straighten. Then there is the action of clearing a misunderstanding, which is also straighten. You can straighten something out with another person. A conversation that allows those involved to better understand each other's feelings is to straighten things out. We need to talk about what happened last night and straighten things out. To distort or twist an event to make it seem different is to bend the truth. You can bend the rules, which means to do something illegal but not serious that goes against a law or set of instructions. You are not supposed to be in here, but I'm willing to bend the rules this time. As adjectives, bent and straight refer to being either good or bad. A bent person is one involved in criminal activity. A straight person is law-abiding and a good citizen. An object that has been distorted out of shape has been bent. The action of doing this is bend. A car accident can be described as a fender bender. This expresses the condition of a car after it has been damaged. Then, as I said at the start of this subject, we have the opposite of bend, which is straighten. To make something level or without distortion is to straighten. Are you still confused? I hope that I have been able to straighten out the confusion here, so you won't be bent double trying to understand it, as I always try my best to be straight with you. Well, it looks as if we have come to the end of another full English lesson, but wait there. Apparently, we still have a few moments left, so to fill that time, here is a short poem. Isn't it strange the way people change from day to day? Isn't it queer whenever you hear the silly things people say? Isn't it sad when you hear something bad, it makes you want to cry? But despite what you hear, one thing is quite clear, to keep you from going mad. Say to yourself, I am what I am, whatever they say or do. My life is mine, and whatever they say, I won't give a damn. Okay, that is definitely all we have time for today. Don't forget to click on that subscribe button and activate the notifications bell so you won't miss another one of my English lessons, be they live or recorded.
And there it was, one of my many lessons that you can find right here on YouTube. If you go to my main channel, you will see all of them. And of course, you can also find the playlists underneath this actual video. It is there. Happy New Year! Here he is.
Happy New Year! Happy New Year, Mr. Duncan. Happy New Year to lovely friends across the world.
Happy New Year to everyone.
Yes, let's hope it will be 2022. There's 3 2s in that.
Yes. The only thing I feel sad about is I will never get to see 2222.
Yes.
That's the one. See, I wish I could be born a little bit later, a little bit further into the future, so I could actually see 2222. So all of the numerals will be the same, but sadly I have a feeling...
Unless there is a medical miracle on the horizon.
Which there isn't.
Well, maybe, in the next 20 years we can freeze ourselves successfully.
Yes.
And then wake up in 2221.
That's it.
And then you can have your wish, Mr. Duncan.
Yes, they will thaw me out.
Just
like a large turkey.
You'll thaw out and there'll be nothing there because the planet will have destroyed itself with global warming or something.
Oh.
So you'll wake up to nothing.
Okay, that's a happy start.
There we go. Well, I'm always an optimist, as you know, Mr. Duncan.
What a happy and positive start to the new year.
I'm a glass half empty kind of guy.
You are a glass empty and smashed on the floor.
Yeah, there's nothing in it. It's just empty.
Yeah, and smashed.
Yes, well, we are going to be talking about, are we not, Mr. Duncan?
We have a lot to talk about today. I will be honest, we have New Year's resolutions.
Yes.
Steve has decided to give me some New Year's resolutions that I have to follow.
No.
And I have some that I'm giving to Mr. Steve.
No, it was your idea.
Yes, it's my idea.
It was your idea.
I wanted it to sound like it was your idea.
No, it wasn't my idea.
I wanted it to be Steve's idea because it sounds like the sort of thing that he would do.
I thought, let's run with it.
Yeah.
Because normally you write out your own resolutions, but maybe, somebody else looking at you from the outside can better give you advice on what would be the best type of resolutions that you should be following for this year.
It's almost like polite complaining. I think you're complaining to someone, but in a polite way. So when you give yourself New Year's resolutions, you are really complaining to yourself about your own behaviour. That's how I see it anyway, in my strange brain. Can I just say a quick hello to Hamza? Hello, Hamza. I am trying to learn English, but you are speaking fast. I try to understand you. Hamza, there are captions now. So if you are watching live, you can press C, the letter C on your keyboard, or you can turn on your captions, and there are subtitles on the screen during the live stream, and also later on there will be captions as well after this has been recorded. So yes, Hamza, there are captions if you want to follow them.
Euphonium 888 says that their can of beer is empty.
Their can of beer?
Not the only thing that's empty, because I read earlier, euphonium, you see, when I'm waiting here, I'm reading the comments in the live chat. I believe your whiskey bottle is also completely empty.
What? Beer and
From New Year's Day.
beer and whiskey.
A whole bottle was consumed.
Do you have a headache?
Probably is still there 3 days later or 2 days later. Oh no, it was yesterday, wasn't it? New Year's Day.
Yes.
Yeah,
It was-
yeah the year's already going too fast for me.
Or too slowly?
Yes, exactly.
Oh, we have our background back. The background has returned because the rain has stopped. So you can enjoy the live view behind us happening right now. So whatever happens behind us, it's completely live and we have no control over it, just in case a naked person runs through that field. So if someone decides to take all their clothes off and run through that field completely naked, I have no control over that.
So keep watching.
So keep watching. Who knows? You never know what you're going to see behind me here in Shropshire.
Is it the year of the tiger?
It is this year, the Chinese New Year
Right.
and the Lunar New Year in just a few weeks. So there is the big Tet Festival in Vietnam and the Chinese New Year, the Lunar New Year. In the lunar zodiac this year, it is the tiger. So congratulations to all those who are tigers.
What, do you have to be born in a specific month?
Year. It's
Year.
all based on years. Yes, it's quite good. So, for example, I am a snake.
That makes sense. Not a trouser snake.
No, not a trouser snake. What? But although I do like to worm my way into certain things. But what are you, Steve?
I don't know.
I don't know what you are in the Chinese.
actually
I'm
don't
just trying to
know.
think, Steve. What are you? You are 60.
One.
1961. I don't know what it is. I'm sure someone out there can tell Mr. Steve what he is. Well, we all know what Steve is. But what is he in the Chinese zodiac?
I think it would be nice if it was a horse, specifically a Mustang.
Oh, okay.
Wouldn't that be interesting if there was such a thing as a horse in that calendar?
I think there is. I think there is a horse year.
Then I could say I'm a Mustang,
Although maybe in your case, maybe an old donkey
an old nag.
or a big ass.
People are saying, Zershid says that I'm a dog. Somebody else says that I'm a cockerel.
So what is 1961? 1961. If you were born in 1961, what is your Chinese zodiac or lunar zodiac? What is it? So I am a snake. No surprises there.
I think, I'm just trying to remember. I'm sure somebody told me once. I'm sure I'm an ox or something like that. I don't know.
Oh, maybe you are a crab. Because you can be rather crabby sometimes.
That's true.
By the way, the word crabby means a person who often becomes irritated or annoyed or they become bad-tempered. A crabby person. Crabby. C-R-A-B-B-Y. Crabby.
Euphonium's a horse.
That's good.
But can somebody look up 1961, assuming that is, when I was born? I mean, it can't be that long ago, surely. But let's assume it is.
Trust me, it
for
is.
the purposes of this of this live stream.
Yes.
Yes, glass half full or glass half empty. A few people have been referring to that.
Oh, Addy says, yes, you are an ox.
Am I?
Yes.
That makes sense. Strong, dependable.
And smelly and leaves large poops everywhere.
That's it, you see. You can't. I'm ready there to either pull people along with me, large weights. What do oxes do? They're sort of good at sort of pulling things in fields.
They
aren't
are slow lumbering creatures.
Yes, but
So-
they're very strong and sturdy and steady.
Slow lumbering. They poop everywhere, and they are often disobedient.
Resilient, strong, they can pull large bits of machinery. See, I have to pull you along with me. That's my mission in life. I have to pull you along.
I thought I was pushing you, to be honest. So we have some fun and games. We have a lot of things to talk about, by the way, Steve. I can't begin to tell you how many things we have to actually discuss today. So I suppose the first thing I should say, once again, is a big thank you. Can I say thank you once more to Dorothy Jacob, Massimo Crociati, and also Angela van der Zonden for your lovely donations to my PayPal fund. It's very nice. But can I also say a special hello to Dorothy, who has also sent something else with her donation, some photographs.
Photographs?
Of a certain person from the internet. Can you guess who it might be?
Was it you?
Oh, okay. It might be. So apparently Dorothy loves the moment that happened 2 weeks ago when I took too many painkillers. And as you can see now on the screen, there they are. So these apparently, Dorothy says, Mr. Duncan, I hope you don't mind, but I thought this was very, very funny when you were slightly high from having too many painkillers. So thank you, Dorothy, for that. But that's not the only photograph. There's also this one as well. I'm starting to think that Dorothy likes this. Maybe this is what I should do every week. Maybe every week I should appear on here high on painkillers, or maybe not. So here we go. This is another thing that's been sent by Dorothy. Let me just move that down so we can see it.
Move that way.
No, it's okay. Let me just see if I can get that right. Sometimes it doesn't do it straight away.
Who's that handsome fellow beside you?
So apparently what I'm saying it is for now. And then I fall asleep, apparently. So that's the story. So it's a little bit like watching a film. So I'm saying it is for now. And then I go to sleep. Thank you, Dorothy. I'm very flattered by all of the attention, but I'm not too sure about this final photograph, Steve. Here it is. What am I doing there, Steve?
You're dreaming of, it looks like a sheep with its tongue out.
Yes, I wonder what I'm thinking there about that sheep. Now, as you know, I do have my favourite sheep, although sadly she's not in the field at the moment. She's vanished. But I'm not quite sure what's happening here. What am I thinking of there? I'm dreaming of a sheep. And I think this might be Lady Wollongton.
So this is from Dorothy.
This is also from Dorothy, who has been
Yes.
very busy.
Cutting and pasting.
Cutting and pasting these
Copying and pasting.
amazing photographs. So thank you very much, Dorothy.
You certainly looked from that photograph. You didn't look unhappy.
No.
You looked in a state of bliss.
Yes. Well, I suppose it depends what I'm dreaming about with the sheep, you see. So maybe I'm chasing her around the field on a bright, warm summer's day, or maybe she is chasing me.
More likely.
Yes. It sounds like my luck is in. Ooh. So thank you very much, Dorothy, for those photographs. I was a little surprised at first, and then I started laughing, and then I started crying, and then I had a sleep on the floor for 20 minutes, and then I woke up, and now I feel all right. So thank you very much.
The next day you had constipation due to the strong painkillers.
Yes. Yes. I suppose this is also a good warning as well. So if you are going to take painkillers, something to ease the pain, make sure that you don't take too many. I took 2 and it was too many. I should have only took 1.
Of that particular type of painkiller.
Very strong, you see.
Yes.
And also I had a cup of coffee afterwards.
We know.
And then I went into the garden and I vomited.
Saturino says, I don't believe in zodiacs. There are too many of them. There's the Western one, the Chinese one. There's lots of. You are right. There are lots of them. There's horoscopes as well. I think which one is right?
So they have
says Saturino. The answer is probably none of them.
You have astrology. So some people believe that the stars in the sky or the way they're positioned, they have some sort of influence, don't they?
That's true.
Astrology. So not to be confused with astronomy. Astronomy is the study of the stars and the planets and everything else. And astrology is the belief that all of those stars in the sky have some sort of effect or power over us.
Even though in reality, you see, when we look up at the night sky, of course, we only see it, we don't see it in 3 dimensions. We only see it in 2. So it appears that you can make patterns out of stars, which you can, like the Great Bear, Aquarius, things like that.
I like the Big Dipper.
I bet you do. But of course, in reality, those stars are some of them are very close to us, some of them are very far away. So there is the 3D. So you can have a star there, light years away from the other one. But it appears that they're all on one plane.
That's it.
Of course, they're not. So it's just not an optical illusion. It's just, our minds like to draw lines between the stars and turn them into shapes.
If there's one thing that human beings are good at, it's making connections where there are none. We are very good at that. And that's a good example of it.
And of course what happens is sometimes it seems to be right, because when they give advice to horoscopes, it's always a bit general. So chances are, every now and then, whatever that person writes in there will probably happen, because they're writing all sorts of random things.
Yes.
So you'll take that one thing and think, oh, look, that's right. But of course, what you'll do is you'll conveniently forget all the times when it was completely wrong. And the danger that people make, of course, is that they read these horoscopes and then they base their life around it, which I think is quite worrying, really.
Some people might say religion is like that as well, how you find coincidences in life and you believe that they have a greater meaning than they really do. So maybe you see a cloud in the sky that looks a little bit like a dog, and then you think, maybe that's a message telling me that I have to buy a new dog. But it isn't. It's just a random moment of time.
Yes.
And you are thinking.
Zurshid says, I don't believe in astrology either, but I find it entertaining. Yes, that's how it should be looked at, as just entertainment.
Yes.
Something to look at, something just to get entertainment or humour from.
I think most people do now.
If you were to follow that advice, that would not probably be very good. But then on the other hand, Mr. Duncan's going to give me some New Year's resolutions. Well, maybe I shouldn't follow that.
Well, I think the chances of you following my advice is 0, to be honest.
Well, you never know.
We will see.
You are right about some things.
Yes. I'm right more times than I'm wrong.
Well, there we go. Here's somebody from probably Vietnam saying, in my country, it is not New Year yet because we follow the Lunar New Year.
That's true.
So, yes, that's true. So China would be another example, wouldn't it? But I'm guessing Duong there is maybe from Vietnam.
Yes. Duong Nguyen Dai. Yes, you are. You are in Vietnam. So you have Tet. Tet is the name of the New Year, the Lunar New Year in Vietnam. Some people do believe in forecasting the future. I personally don't. I don't think anyone can see the future. However, you can try to make your future better. And quite often that involves a lot of hard work. Can I say thank you also? We're moving on now, Steve. We've got so much to get through, I tell you now. Can I say thank you to... Oh, this is amazing. Isn't it amazing, Steve? I've been doing this for 15 years, and I always say that nothing can surprise me. I always say nothing can ever surprise me now, because I've seen everything, I've heard everything. I've been on YouTube since the beginning. Nothing can surprise me. Well, guess what? A group of ladies have managed to give me a very big surprise. I received a lovely email, and well, I suppose I should just show the photograph really, because this is the photograph that tells you everything you need to know. We had a little reunion of some of our viewers. 4 lovely ladies.
And I believe they've never actually met before, is that right?
They have never met each other, ever.
So it's not really a reunion.
Well, when I say reunion, well, a reunion as in they talk to each other, but now they're getting together.
So 4 people that watch you, Mr.
See that? See, that might be one of Mr. Steve's New Year resolutions, not to be so fussy and pedantic.
So 4 people that watch us, actually decided they would meet up.
Yes.
And I think that's incredible, Mr. Duncan.
Shall we have a look?
Yes.
Here we go. So here it is. 4 lovely viewers decided to get together and meet up face to face. Look at that. Would you like to know who is in the photograph, Steve?
Yes. Well, I do know, but please tell everybody else.
From left to right, we have Marcia, Claudia. We also have Beatrice and Sandra, all meeting together. Something that was arranged last week. Apparently, it was last Thursday.
And you knew nothing about it.
I knew nothing about it. It was such a big surprise.
That we must stress.
Yes.
You didn't arrange this.
No.
This was arranged. Actually, who did arrange it?
I think it was... let me just think. I like it when Mr. Steve asks me questions. I can't remember who actually...
Initiated, started
I think it may have been, I want to say, Beatrice, but I'm not sure. There is an email here. Let me just have a look here, Steve.
Well, Sandra's on.
Hello, my dear teacher. How are you? This is a surprise. Marcia, here we go. Yes, it was Marcia. Marcia came to Buenos Aires for Christmas and New Year and could organise an encounter with Claudia and also Sandra. It was a bit difficult because of the time of year, but today it was possible, finally. Thank you, my dear teacher, thanks a lot. We were very happy. We are very happy and grateful to you. We have never seen each other in person before. It was amazing. So thank you once again to Marcia, Claudia, Beatrice, Sandra, for your lovely picture. I can't get over that. I'm going to be honest with you. There isn't much that can make me just gasp with shock.
And they're all on right now. They're all on live right at the moment.
Oh, really?
So, yeah. So hello to Marcia, Claudia, Belarusia, Beatrice and Sandra.
Yes.
And thank you for... I can't believe that you actually... wrote out that placard, what would you call it, Mr. Duncan, like that sign as well. And where were you? It looks like you were in a cafe or a restaurant.
Yes, it looks like a coffee, maybe a coffee shop or a small cafe. But thank you very much. I am going to print that out. I want to make a nice print of that, and I'm going to put it in a frame because you have made me almost, not quite, but almost cry.
And whereabouts did these lovely ladies meet up? Was it...
I think it was Buenos Aires.
Yes.
So I'm going to...
Please tell us, one of you, where did you meet up?
I only have some of the details. I don't have all of them. But thank you very much. Just even talking about it, I'm still in a state of shock, I'll be honest with you. And it takes a lot to shock me.
Well, it just shows you. It just shows you. One day we're going to have to go to South America, and we're going to have to meet up with those 4 lovely ladies and anybody else that wants to go. I've told you before, we're going to have to do a world tour.
Yes.
We're going to go to Paris. We're going to go to all the. We're going to go to Vietnam. We're going to go everywhere.
I think France France will be first because it's quite nearby and easy to get to. And I know that we do have quite a few viewers watching in France.
Do we have anyone in France? Do we know
Yes.
anyone?
Well, yes, of course.
I'm joking. I'm joking.
There are about 5, at least 5 people living in France, across France, who watch us. And of course, we have, Luis Mendez is
course.
in France. So we might arrange something just to start everything off. Maybe this year. To be honest with you,
We'd love to do it.
We'd
love to do it.
We would love to do it this year, but do I have to tell you that making arrangements at the moment is almost impossible? It's almost impossible to make any plans for anything. It's like your whole life is in some sort of limbo. It's not moving. It's not going anywhere. So making plans is very hard, especially if you want to travel abroad. Isn't that right, Steve?
Exactly. At the moment, it's a bit, but then it might all, this summer it all might fade away, and we might be able to go out and do what we want. I mean, if we started in Europe, for example, somewhere like Paris, maybe a lot of people watching us from different countries within Europe would want to come there as well.
Yes. I mean, I suppose we could have
Central spot.
We could have a European meetup.
Yes. We can't go to every city.
And then see what happens.
Just every continent.
Well, yes, as I said, I'm not. You do realise that you have to get on planes, and planes can be very expensive to book a seat on.
Addy wants to come with their girlfriend on the world tour with us. We've got a lot of people inviting us. Can we come to India? Mega, yes. Well, we'd love to come to India. That's it. We're going to do a continent every year, maybe. Well,
look, Steve is saying this, not me. I'm not promising anything. I never make promises that I can't keep. But I do like the sound of meeting up in France because it's nearby. And it's not because I'm lazy. Who said that? Someone just said I'm lazy. I saw you. You were going, he's lazy. That Mr. Duncan is lazy. He just wants to go to France. We'll start in France. We'll give it a go.
I think so. We know it, you see.
We'll try. We'll try.
Well, we've got invites to Italy. We've got invites to... Well, we know we've got an invite to South America. We've had invites before to France.
Yes.
But,
let's not give too much away. You're starting to give all of the stuff away now.
But we haven't organised anything.
Let's just keep it. Everyone just take a deep breath and calm down. We're not travelling anywhere at the moment. We're not going anywhere. But I do think it is a good idea. It's like a little idea comes into your head, and then you think, that's a good idea. I'm going to think about that. But I do like the sound of it.
No invite from the Netherlands yet. I'm waiting for that one.
We've been to the Netherlands. We always get into trouble when we go to the Netherlands.
That's true. That we did get into trouble.
We always get into trouble. I am amazed that we haven't been blocked from going to the Netherlands ever again, because we always get into trouble.
We were a bit naughty. Mind you, that was 25 years ago.
Oh, they never forget.
That's true. Of course, anyone watching from Vienna, I'd love to go to Vienna.
Oh, yes. Did anyone watch the wonderful New Year's Day, the celebration of the
Christmas
New Year
concert?
The New Year.
Yes, good New Year.
Yes.
Concert, New Year concert from Vienna.
Yes. So it's a tradition that's been going on for 82 years. 82 years. Every year they have this wonderful celebration in Austria, and it's this beautiful hall where every year they put on an amazing performance, and it's a traditional performance that is broadcast to millions of people around the world, including here in the UK. So we watched it yesterday. We always enjoy a little bit of
Strauss.
A little bit of Strauss. You can't beat a bit of Strauss for getting everything pumping. If you want to get your heart pumping and your lungs full of fresh air, put a bit of Strauss on.
It was good. Yes, I love to watch that. I love to sit down as it's live across the world at 10:15 a.m. every New Year's Day.
Yes.
And it's just nice to sit down
Well.
and watch some culture.
Yes.
And you have the orchestra, that beautiful gold hall,
Okay.
and you've got dancers as well. You like to look at the dancers, don't you, Mr.
I
Duncan?
like to watch the dancers. I'm always interested in their moves. I like to keep an eye on their pas de deux.
Yes. Still no. Oh yes, no. We've got
What?
an invite now to the Netherlands.
Oh, okay. although we will have to find out if we are still banned from going there.
That apparently, if we are troublemakers, we're more than welcome.
Oh, I see. Oh, okay.
Says
then.
Tomek. Yes.
Oh. Maybe they might even send us a first-class ticket.
I think we'd have a wild time if we went to the Netherlands.
Yes, it sounds good. The nether regions.
Yes. So yes, did anybody else watch the lovely music from Vienna?
So
On
the
New Year's Day.
New Year's Day concert from Vienna, the beautiful. Well, Austria is the most amazing country. So and they always show some of the beautiful sights around that area. Austria, a beautiful, beautiful place, very scenic, beautiful buildings.
Of course, they use the New Year concert to shamefully advertise the country because obviously that encourages people to go and visit.
Yeah,
I
well,
mean, why not?
If you can.
It looks like the sort of most cultural place in the world.
Yeah. What do you mean by cultural?
Cultural, sort of, yes. The arts, music, dancing, the higher things that human beings are capable of doing. They do say that, don't they? That the arts is the highest achievement of evolution as far as humans go. So music. Yes, it's in the blood, I think, of people there. But yes, we would love to go there. One day we will, but
Yes.
we'll start with maybe somewhere closer to home.
Yes. Good. I'm glad we cleared that up.
But we welcome any invites, and of course, tickets paid for us. We'd love that.
You know, one of the worst.
First class, of course. We're not going economy.
One of the big problems at the moment with YouTube and being on here is lots of people tend to ask for things for free. But so we don't want to get too much into that. But if there is anyone out there who wants us really, 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 really to come to them, if you really want us, if you want us, can you imagine us coming to your door and knocking on your door and saying,
scary.
how scary is that? we will try to see how many countries we can get deported from. That will be our aim. So coming up in a few moments, we have Mr. Steve and myself revealing our
What?
resolutions.
Right. Okay.
But they will be resolutions that I have suggested to Steve and resolutions that Steve has suggested to me.
And we don't know.
We don't know what they are.
We've
Which
written them separately, sealed them in envelopes.
I feel slightly terrified of this, to be honest. I don't know what I've done here, but we will see what happens. Now, one of the things that happened on New Year's Eve, people were out and about in London and they were enjoying watching the firework display, but also the famous clock tower that is now being revealed again. So they're starting to take all of the scaffolding, all of the supports, and all of the coverings from the clock tower. So once again, you can start seeing the clock tower.
Are you talking about Big Ben?
Big Ben is the bell inside, but the clock tower is actually called the Elizabeth II clock tower. Yes, so the actual structure has a different name, but Big Ben is the bell that is inside. Well, apparently it's been announced today. I don't know if you've heard this, Steve, but because they've had so much success with this, so there it is. There is Big Ben and the Elizabeth Clock Tower, and you can see there is lots of scaffolding supporting it. Well, apparently this year, as a way of commemorating the Queen's 70th year as the Queen of England, they're actually going to renovate the Queen.
Okay,
They're going
right.
to renovate. Look, there it is. They've started already. So they've put some scaffolding around the Queen, and that over the next few months they're going to renovate the Queen of England.
So she's going to have a bit of a lift, is
Yeah,
she?
everything.
In various areas.
Yes, everything's going to be renovated. They've got the best builders. They've got tons and tons of plaster, and they're going to fill all of the cracks. They're going to add support in certain places. They're going to make everything look young and youthful again, apparently. So this is what they're doing. This is actually now. This is a live photograph
Right, okay, Mr. Duncan.
of the Queen of England being renovated. So because they did it so well with Big Ben, like this, you see. See, there it is. And then next on the list, the Queen of England. I think that's going to be really successful. I can't wait to see what she looks like when all of that scaffolding is removed.
What about the facial area?
Well, they've only
though?
just started putting the scaffolding,
I
you
see.
So eventually it will cover all of her. And they're going to just do all sorts of renovations. I think this will be great. I can't wait. Because this year, of course, the Queen is celebrating her 70th year. They're almost running out of metals.
Most of it will be gold, I'm sure.
No, it's platinum this year.
Oh, right.
When
yes.
I say metals, they give each year a special metal. So this year it is her platinum anniversary of being the Queen of England. But I don't know what will next be, because they're running out of minerals and materials. What comes after platinum? I don't know.
We'll probably. Well, I don't know. Is what's after platinum? I don't know.
I don't know.
That'll be 80 years, won't it?
Zinc.
It's probably rusty old iron. We're getting invites from all over the world, Mr. Duncan. We're going to have a very, very busy year.
I think so.
We'll have to do some crowdfunding though, before we do.
Yes,
before we set off.
I was
on
going
that.
to say there is one slight problem with that. Having a world tour, you have to sort of. Well, you have to pay for it, you see. So I'm not sure if we will be doing that. That's why I said France.
Yeah,
first
because
of
we could literally bike there.
We can start with France, because all we have to do is just fly over there. It takes about 45 minutes to fly there. So it's okay. Although it will take 2 hours to get through customs, because now we are a foreign nation. Since we left the European Union, we can no longer go through with the fast track.
Well, you see, Bogdan has mentioned the fact that asks, have I done research on the electric unicycle? Remember that was mentioned last
I'm going
week.
to guess you... did you?
I haven't, but you see, we could look that up, and that's how we could get to France on a budget.
Yeah.
So if you're going somewhere or doing something on a budget, it means that you've got a fixed amount of money
Yes.
that you have to do that task, and it's probably not a very high amount of money.
It won't be.
I think we could probably get some electric bikes or electric unicycles, and that would be a very stylish way to go to Paris,
Yes.
I think. And it may take us a few days, and we might be a bit exhausted when we get there, but we'd have saved all that. How are we going to go, though? We're going to have to get a ferry across, aren't we?
Well, I don't think so. I'm not taking a ferry.
Can we ride our bikes through the tunnel?
Well, you can take your bikes on a train and just go under.
That's what we're going to do.
Yes, or just get a train all the way to Dover and just go from there.
Can you go
Or Calais.
first class on a train to Paris? I wonder.
Yes, you can.
Oh, interesting. Thing is, you've got to get down to, where does it start from? Calais.
Calais, yes.
No, in the UK. I mean, so it's
To
somewhere
Calais.
on the south coast. Where does it start in the UK? The Channel Tunnel. Is it Southampton?
Go on, you can do it.
It's not Dover, is it?
Well, it starts
Or
from
is it
London.
Dover? Oh, I know, but I mean, when it starts going under the sea.
I don't know, but
But you can get on. You don't have to get on at London, do you? You can get on. Presumably, you can get on before, closer to the coast.
what's your impression of the Channel Tunnel? Do you think it's a separate entity that you have to all get off and then get?
Does it start at London? You
Well,
can't.
the train goes all the way to France.
Yes, I know that, Mr. Duncan.
You don't have to do anything.
I know, but where can you get on? Do you have to get on at London, or can you
Yes.
get on near,
No.
nearer to the coast?
You have to get on at London.
Oh, right, okay. I didn't know that. I thought you could just sort of hop on the beach.
What do you think? There's a train just sitting on the beach that's waiting there, like a big platform, but it's all just piles of sand, and then people just get on.
God save Ryanair, says Tom Rocks. Yes, a cheap way to get to fly to Paris. In fact, you can get there for about £25, can't you?
Well,
and it's only a short flight, so you could put up with the sort of substandard seating and whatever.
yeah.
You don't mind for an hour. I don't think it's even an hour, is it?
Well, no, it's
To
about
Paris.
It's about 45, 50 minutes, but it's 2 hours after you get off the plane to go through customs, because you can't just go through quickly now, because we left the European Union. Well done, everyone. Well done to those who voted for Brexit. Now you have to wait for 2 bloody hours when you get to Charles de Gaulle Airport, instead of just going straight through. Great. Are you happy now? Are you happy now you've got your Brexit and your 2-hour wait?
If you go first class, do you still have to? Is there a quick way through the customs? I wonder. I'm sure there is.
You are obsessed with first class.
I'm not obsessed with it. I'm just thinking, if you did, could you bypass all the queues? I'm sure that you could. Because what would be the point otherwise? Yes. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Valentin suggests that we maybe go to North Korea.
Well-
have we got any viewers? Can people in North Korea actually watch us, or are they blocked?
I don't think there is an internet connection to the outside world in North Korea. So the chances of us being watched in South Korea, yes. North Korea, that's a big no, I think. I don't think we are being watched in North Korea. Although, what's happened to Kim Jong-un? Is he on a diet?
He's definitely lost a lot of weight. He
He's
looks
lost-
about 10 years younger.
It's incredible. Kim Jong-un, I have to say, I think he's been on that exercise machine. I think someone has bought an exercise machine for him, because he looks amazing.
Well, Valentin says if we go to North Korea, maybe it'll be your last stop on the worldwide trip. Yes. We probably won't.
Well, we might
come back.
like it so much. We might love it there. We might get to North Korea and find out it's the most amazing place in the world. And everyone's just been making these stories up to stop people from going there because it's so amazing. So it might be great. There might be everything free.
Euphonium says there's
and all of the bad stuff about North Korea is just us making sure that no one goes there, because it's just too good.
I don't think there is anyone watching from North Korea, but if there is, please tell us.
Yes.
It would be, that would be a major moment in history
Yes.
for your channel.
Followed by the sound of someone being dragged out of the room.
Yes, they could be watching but not revealing themselves.
Yes, it's probably best not to.
Yes.
Don't tell me if you are in North Korea Okay, so that's probably a good idea. I think that's a good tip. If you are in North Korea, please don't tell us you are. Just don't tell us, and enjoy the show.
I think we'll probably fly. I have been on Air France. That was a very nice experience.
Yes. Can we go by plane?
I used to know somebody that worked for Air France.
Okay.
And got me a cheap flight. I was very pleased at the time.
Huh? Yeah. Fascinating story.
Tom says that I'm posh today. A wee bit posh.
You keep fidgeting.
Well, that's because my legs are aching.
Your poor legs. Why? What have you done?
Well, I'm not used to standing up. And I have, believe it or not, Mr. Duncan, even though it is the second... Is it the second today?
Yes.
Yeah, second of...
Yesterday was the first.
Of January. I've actually been out gardening.
Okay.
For an hour. I wanted to, because it's so warm here, all the weeds are growing.
Yes.
So I needed to weed a patch of ground, remove plants that I didn't want, and I transplanted some out of the ground into pots that I want to move and put into a different location.
Viewing figures
in
now
the spring.
Going down.
They're going up, Mr. Duncan.
We had a lovely walk yesterday. The weather was gorgeous. Apparently yesterday was the hottest day ever on New Year's Day. 17 degrees, 17 Celsius. I always get told off about that. Mr. Duncan, you don't say 17 degrees, you say 17 Celsius. You stupid man. Okay, 17 Celsius. The highest temperature ever on New Year's Day. And it is supposed to be winter. It's winter. And yet you can go outside with just a T-shirt and walk around. It's amazing.
I've run out of water.
That's a shame.
When are we going to do these New Year resolutions?
Well, in a few moments.
Fine.
There's no actual rush, to be honest. There's no rush, is there? Are you in a hurry? So what about you out there? First of all, we are going to ask you about your New Year's resolutions. So we are doing it in a certain type of order.
Well, Tomek's already ruined what I was going to say about the best way to write out your New Year resolutions by mentioning the popular sort of business planning acronym, SMART goals. But I'll explain. But yeah, very, very good of you to do that. Hopefully everyone's forgotten. And I can mention it again and make it look as though it was my idea.
I've forgotten it already. You've only just mentioned it.
But yes, we'll sort of touch on what might be a good way to construct a very good New Year resolution.
Do you have any New Year's resolutions yourself?
Now, can you say New Year resolutions?
Yes.
Or can you say New Year's resolutions?
Both are fine. It depends if you are using the possessive form. So the possessive form belongs to the year, or you are just using it as a title, in which case you don't need to put the apostrophe. So, or the S for that matter. You can say New Year resolutions or New Year's resolutions, but most people say New Year's resolutions.
I don't.
This is so exhausting. I will be honest with you. So do you have any New Year's resolutions for 2022? What about you? Do you have any? So please give us your New Year's resolutions first of all. Do you have any plans for this year? Not next year, because next year is 2023. So 2022 is this year. Whew, I'm getting a headache. Where are my painkillers? I need my painkillers. Do you have any New Year's resolutions for 2022?
Do you still believe in writing out New Year resolutions? And if so, what are they? We'd like to know.
See, I think it's a good idea to have some sort of plan because it's a good reason to do it. It's a good excuse for those things that you keep complaining about, things that you don't like about yourself, that you want to change.
Or things you want to achieve in that year.
Yes.
I must admit, Mr. Duncan, I have for many years written out New Year's resolutions, and I haven't really stuck to them. In fact, Christina, hello, earlier on made a reference to what I was about to say, and that she makes resolutions hour by hour. And I find, you see, making or little goals would be another way of doing it. See, at the start of the day or in the night before, I like to write out what I want to achieve on the next day, and then I cross them off as I go through them. It could be anything. It could be work-related things. I want to contact so many customers, or it could be I want to learn a particular bit of music. It could be as simple as clean bathroom.
Yes.
But I find if I write them down, I'm far more likely to do them if I don't write them down. And I get a lot of pleasure from crossing things off. So I think sometimes you need they're almost like daily resolutions, aren't they?
Yes. Well, I think those are just plans for the day or reminders.
Daily goals.
Yes, or maybe a reminder to do something.
But you need to have something that focuses more on the long term, the next month or the next 6 months, for example. But I think if things are too far in the future, you don't tend to stick to it.
No.
So if you say by June I will do this, what tends to happen is that you don't really do anything, because June seems a long way away. So I find that New Year resolutions, I very rarely stick to those, but sort of daily writing out goals for the day, I do stick to those. I don't know what that shows. Maybe you feel the same way.
I'm sure there is a psychiatrist out there who could decipher all of that.
There we go. Marwa says, my biggest resolution for this year is to improve my English.
That's a good one. And yes, you can, you see, as long as you watch my videos and all of my new lessons. And yes, there will be some more new lessons coming during this year as well. Ooh.
But what has been established, which is what Tomek has referenced in an earlier post on the live chat, is that you're much more likely to stick to resolutions or goals. You can think of New Year resolution as goals if you apply a set of principles to it.
I see what's coming here.
You do.
So is this the thing you were talking about, just SMART?
Yes, I'd already written it out. You see, there's the proof. Because I'll leave it on there for a while.
That's so clear. We can see that so clearly.
Well, people can manipulate the script. I'll read it out.
I can't read it anyway with your writing. Your writing is so atrocious.
Smart, of course, means clever. And I don't know when this was first, probably sometime I think it was in the 1970s, a businessman came up with this suggestion. It's an acronym.
Yes.
Really. So you assign words to each one. So the S. So if you make your goals or your resolutions specific, they need to be made specific. They need to be measurable. They need to be achievable. They need to be relevant, and they need to be time bound or time related. And if you do all those 5 things, you're far more likely to stick to it. So what do I mean by specific? So if you say, for example,
I didn't know this was going to be a PowerPoint presentation.
My biggest resolution is to improve my English. Well, that's fine, but it's not very specific. If you were to say my resolution is to improve my verbal English, or to improve my spelling, or to improve my what's another thing you could improve?
You can improve your oral. Well, that's okay. Yes, oral English.
Oral English.
What's wrong with that?
But if you just say English, this is a very broad subject. Yes. It's like you say, "Oh, I want to buy a new car."
Okay.
Well, that's not very specific. So if you make it specific, you would say, I want to buy a new Ford Mustang.
When we say specific, we mean exact.
Exact.
So that actual thing. So instead of talking generally, You are talking about something specific, something that is absolutely precise, the actual thing.
Your mind is more likely to focus down on that one task as opposed to, say, learning. I want to learn better English, and lots of people say this. I'm not picking on anyone in particular.
You want to learn better English? That sentence itself.
I want to
shows
improve
me
my
that
English.
I want to learn better English.
Make it specific. Okay, and then make it measurable. So then say, so you've got to have a starting point, and then at a period of time in the future, you can measure the difference between where you are now and where you are in, say, a month's time or 6 months' time.
Okay.
And then you can see whether you are any better. So you've got something that you can measure it against. Is it achievable? In other words, can you do that thing? So if I say, I want to buy a new Rolls Royce.
Well, that's definitely not achievable.
Well, that's it. It's not achievable. So your goal or your resolution should be something that you could actually do,
Yeah.
as opposed to just something you wish you could do.
Yes. There is a big difference between wishing for something,
Yes.
and trying to achieve something.
Is that resolution or goal, is it relevant? Is it relevant to you? Is it something that you would normally do, or you think that it would be something applicable to you? So if for example I was to say, oh, I want to learn how to speak Chinese,
Okay.
for example, well, is it relevant? What use would that be to me? Because if it's not relevant, then I'm going to soon give up doing it. So do you see what I mean? So if I was, for example, I want to build an extension on the house.
I understand that less now.
I'm
than
going to
when we
build
started.
an extension on the house. Well, that's
Yeah.
not really relevant because I couldn't do it.
Okay, Steve, this is turning into.
Yes, and is it time bound? So you've got to say, I've got to do it by a certain date, because when you say that crystallizes something in your mind and gives you
Yes.
impetus.
Okay.
Impetus to do
there's
that
a
thing.
point where telling something or talking about something it becomes rambling, and you have you've recently crossed the line from being interesting to being just rambling. So my New Year's resolution, says Bogdan, is to cure COVID. You are probably in a very long line of people trying to do that. Although there is some of course there is a glimmer of hope with this new medicine that you can take now. So it apparently has been approved here. So the little tablet that you pop in your mouth, and apparently it makes I think it just relieves the symptoms. I'm not sure if it's a cure.
I think it stops the virus from working in your body.
So you
probably.
might. I think you get it, but you don't get all the horrible symptoms and the coughing and the sneezing and the having to lie down in a hospital for 3 months.
That's the only point I was making. When you write out a resolution, just add some specific things to it and give it some focus.
Please don't do that again. It was boring me. I almost clicked away from the live stream.
It's used a lot in sort of business environments.
Yes.
When you're setting goals in your work environment,
Okay,
they often use
Steve,
that. But it works. It works.
Okay, you've just told us,
I know.
and now you're telling us again.
So are we going to share our resolutions?
Yes, it might be a good idea. So show the envelopes. Just do the envelopes,
Okay.
Mr. Steve.
Or envelopes. You
Yeah,
can pronounce
okay.
that word in two different ways.
So we have two sets of lists. We have New Year's resolutions for Duncan and New Year's resolutions for Mr. Steve. So, but the interesting thing is we have written the resolutions for each other. So those are for Mr. Steve and these are for me. So we haven't seen these yet. We haven't seen the list. Steve is trying to see the list.
No way. No, I don't. I have no idea what Mr. Duncan has written in here. It feels very thick.
Yes.
That's the other thing about New Year resolutions. You don't want too many because otherwise, it just seems like it's all unachievable.
Well, I'm just going to say you can choose one or two of them.
look, I've had a congratulations from Tomek, because Tomek knows all about this sort of thing, and Lewis has gone one stage further in terms of the goal being specific, in saying not just a Mustang but a red one. So yes, specify. The more detail you can attach to it, the more real it becomes in your mind, and the more likely you are to actually achieve it.
It's a bit like having a 3D representation of something. So if you are about to build, I don't know, a new skyscraper, quite often they will construct a model first of all, so you can physically see it, even though it's very small and people can't fit inside it. But you get the idea of what it's going to be like. It makes it more real. I think that's good, Steve. So let's do these.
Latisuka says, my New Year resolutions would be disconnect gadgets sooner so that I can sleep during the night. Yes, so they say, don't they, don't look at television screens or your phone or your iPad an hour before you go to bed. Put it down so that your mind isn't overstimulated.
That's it.
Right, so who's
although in Steve's case, it's very hard for his mind to ever become overstimulated.
My mind is always at full stimulation.
There is no part of you that's ever overstimulated.
I just carry on till I'm exhausted.
Steve, this might be one of the resolutions. Just get to the point. Here we go, Steve. So these are the New Year's resolutions for me that Mr. Steve has written. And those are yours. Pick them up, Steve.
So who... I wonder what's inside here.
So you have to open the envelope, Steve.
Do you want me to open mine first?
You open yours.
Right, okay, right.
We're going to open them at the same time.
But are we going to read them at the same time?
Well, no, because that'll just be a horrible noise. So you're going to read the first one.
This is what you think I should focus on for 2022.
This is a list, you see. I've made a list.
I'm wondering what this could be. Oh, my goodness.
Yes. It's not. It doesn't feel quite so much fun.
Shall I have a look, Mr. Duncan?
Here we go.
Oh, okay, yes.
Oh.
Interesting.
I think so. So what is the first one, Steve?
Okay, so the first one that you have suggested for me, Mr. Duncan, be more patient towards technology.
Yes.
Okay.
Steve has...
Right.
I think sometimes, because you do... What? Nothing happened then. You do sometimes have very little patience with things, especially technology. I think these days Steve always expects technology to do things instantly, but they still don't, and they still can't. For example, when Mr. Steve changes the channel on the television, it takes a few seconds for the new channel to actually appear.
It shouldn't, though.
But it does, because that's the way technology works. It has to process that thing. TVs are just fairly basic household appliances. So that's the reason. So I want Steve to be more patient towards technology because I think that's part of your stress. Your stress comes from your inability just to wait. When you press a button on your iPad, you have to wait for it to do something, and then it does it. But you don't. You press it. You press the button, and then you want it to do it straight away, and then you start pressing more buttons, and then you thump the iPad, and then you throw it across the room. True. So that is it. You've got to be a bit more patient when you are using technology. Sometimes it takes a few moments. It's a bit like using Google. If you put a search into Google, you don't get the answer straight away. It's a few seconds, and then it will come up.
Taking this on board, Mr. Duncan, yeah. I think as well, if I'm not relaxed, if I'm stressed anyway about something, it's work.
Anyway,
and then if you're already in a state of stress and then technology doesn't work as you expect it to work, you lose your patience more easily.
Yes. So that's what
happened to me.
Anyway, we've got loads to get through.
Okay, number two.
I'm doing my first one. So you're doing one, and I'm doing one.
Okay.
And you're doing one.
Right.
I did actually say that.
What did I put, by the way?
Okay then. Mr. Duncan's New Year's resolutions as written by Mr. Steve. Number 1, take daily walks of the minimum of 15 minutes. Well, I think that's okay. That's
There
a
we
good
go.
one. I can't argue with that.
It's specific. It's
Yes.
measurable.
exact.
You can do it, and it's time specific. You've got to do it every day.
Yes. So every day for at least 15 minutes, go for a walk down the road.
These are all year, by the way,
Yes. Well, that's normally why.
because you don't. Mr. Duncan doesn't take enough exercise. He's always here preparing lessons and
Hey,
things.
whoa.
Sitting down, and
Okay.
you know he needs to take more exercise.
All right.
Right.
Goodness me. So take daily walks of the minimum of 15 minutes. I think that's a good one. I like that one, Steve.
Good.
That gets a thumbs up from me.
Good.
Thumb.
Okay. So number 2 that you have suggested for me, Mr. Duncan, is be a better listener. Be a
Yes.
better listener.
Yes, you are. You are not very good at listening when people are talking. Steve,
Pardon?
like
What?
that. See? Do you see what I mean? That's a good example.
Did you say something?
So when I'm talking to Steve, quite often I will give Steve information about something. I will tell him something or give him some information. And then he goes away, and then a little bit later on, he's completely forgotten what I've said. But it wasn't because he forgot. It's just because when I gave him the information, he was not listening.
You are right. I tend to be in a world of my own,
It is true.
and people can talk to me. I've developed this. I think it's a skill, actually. I've developed this skill of people can just talk to me, and they think I'm listening to everything they're saying,
Yeah.
because I'm nodding in all the right places and I'm making eye contact.
Yes.
But in fact, I'm not listening to anything. I'm thinking about something else.
But what does happen sometimes, Steve, is we can be talking to someone and then they change the subject.
Yes.
So they suddenly start talking about something else, and then you will suddenly say something that refers to the thing we were talking about earlier, and everyone just looks at you and thinks, why did he say that?
Active listening, it's called,
Yeah.
says Tomek. And that is true. You see, you're supposed to. I should have developed this skill with customers, but anyway, yes, okay, Mr. Duncan, I take that on board.
Yes, I think
I
so.
will. What you could have said is that focus on the moment.
Yes.
If I was to focus on the present moment and practice how to focus all my attention on the present moment, which is why I like doing these live streams, then I'm more likely to be in the moment, here, present, and be more able to listen to what Mr. Duncan is saying to me,
Yes.
because it could be important.
Yes, I think it's more about being in the moment and feeling what is happening at that moment. Like yesterday, we had a lovely walk yesterday, and we saw the most amazing thing. The strangest thing happened. As we were walking past a small bush, there was a little robin sitting in the bush, but very close to where we were. And it didn't move. It just looked at us. So we stopped, and we actually looked at the robin, and the robin looked at us. And it was singing to us. It was very bizarre. It was so bizarre, wasn't it,
I
Steve?
know. Out in the middle of nowhere.
Yes. It was a very strange moment of time. So we had some bread in our bag, and so we took some of the bread out and put it on the ground. Well, first of all, I put it in my hand, and I think the robin wanted to fly and take the bread from my hand, but it didn't. But it went onto the ground, so we put some bread on the ground, and it was eating the bread, wasn't it? It started eating the bread.
We ought to mention why we had bread on us.
Well,
The reason is we'd been to the shop to buy some because we'd run out.
yes.
Because, we don't normally carry bread around with us.
Don't think that adds much to the story, but
Yes.
but the robin was just transfixed, and we were transfixed by the robin. So the robin was looking at us and eating.
It was
and
very tame.
and we-
Tame is the word.
Yes, we were just looking at the robin. We
Fearless.
couldn't believe it.
It literally was that far away from us at some points. It had no fear.
Yes, it kept hopping around our feet.
But as you say, it was singing. It was singing to us just there, just,
Yes.
literally just there.
It seemed happy.
I know. And it took some of the bread and it was a lovely moment.
Yes.
And at that point, I was totally absorbed in the moment.
Yes.
And when I'm on the live streams, I'm totally absorbed in the present moment, because you can't not be, because otherwise you would all notice I was drifting off.
Yes.
And this
So-
helps me to focus and be in the present moment.
Yes. So I think that is one thing that Steve needs to work
As
on.
I can go on a walk or a run, and I've been on that walk, I come back and I may as well have stayed at home, because mentally I haven't been looking at the lovely scenery and what's been going on. All these troubles and worries have been, and stresses have been going over in my
Anyway.
mind. But anyway, yes.
Mr. Steve has suggested to me that I should take a holiday with Mr. Steve.
Yes.
Well, I'm definitely not going to argue about that. But we talked about this earlier, of course, travelling. We would like to do a little bit of travelling. But as you may have noticed, if you've been reading the news recently, there is a slight problem with...
You see, I've just realised that's not a very good objective. What I should have said, if I was going to be more smart objective, I should have said where we're going to take the holiday
Yes.
and when.
That's it. So you should have said we are going to take a holiday in France in July.
Yes.
And then that would make it more real.
But I thought I would just leave it open a bit, that one. And we've got some very good comments coming through here. Inaki says, usually when people are talking to us, we're thinking of our own reply while they're talking to us and thinking about what subject we want to bring up next. And that is very true. We all know people that we're having a conversation with, and you know they're not listening to a word you say, because they either interrupt you before you come to the end of your sentence, or they don't make any comment about what you've just said. So you might say, something. Oh yes, I went out the other day and I saw this abominable snowman walk by. I saw a UFO in the sky, and it landed, and 3 aliens got out. But but the person talking to you might, if they don't make any comment about that, then you know they're not listening to you. And we have these conversations with people, don't we? And you know they're not listening. And husbands and wives often have these and they're just not listening to each other. And I know sometimes I'm doing it. I'm not. Well, I think I'm trained in my job to be quite a good listener.
Or to actually pretend to be a good listener.
Yes.
I think that is more closer to the actual event.
But it is sad. Usually we are thinking of what we're going to say next in a conversation. Decluttering toxic thoughts and people is a good way to live in peace, says Flower.
Yeah.
That's very true.
Well, I can safely say in my life I have no toxic people whose characteristics or their manner can be destructive towards your own plans or even your own feeling of happiness. So I do not like people who start to add their poison to your life or to your feelings. I don't like that at all.
Lewis is going. Bye, Lewis.
See you next Sunday, Lewis.
We can talk about Lewis now. He's gone. We won't. We're only joking. So, right, number 3 on my list of New Year resolutions that I suggest Mr. Duncan does. Oh no, these are the ones. This is what you suggested I do. I can't understand what I'm doing here. Right, so Mr. Duncan has suggested to me, really interesting. I think we'll cross that one off. Stop complaining about Mr. Duncan's snoring.
Yes. He's always complaining about me snoring, even when he's downstairs. He says, now I don't think this is true. I think you are exaggerating when you say this. You say that you were downstairs and you can hear me snoring from downstairs. And you've said this quite a few times in the past. And I don't think it's true. I don't think when I'm snoring or if I snore, that you can hear it in another room? I don't think you can. I don't think it's that loud.
It is.
Yes.
It is.
So I think you should stop complaining about it.
Well, the thing is, Mr. Duncan, I'm losing sleep because of your loud snoring.
Okay.
You know, I want to get a nice unbroken 7.5 hours sleep.
Okay.
And I don't because you are snoring away and I have to give you a little dig in the ribs.
Sometimes he will give me a nudge with his elbow or punch me in the face. He gives me a little punch in the face.
But surely you have partners who snore. And it is very annoying. I'm not sure I can stick to that one, Mr. Duncan.
Vittoria says Mr. Duncan must be a loud snorer.
He is. He is. And the main reason, I think, is because you don't do enough exercise. So, number one on your list, if you stick to that one, I think that will help. Record it, says Tomic. I will.
Oh, Bruno says it as well.
Bruno says it as well.
Bruno and also Tomek, please record the sound of Mr. Duncan snoring. Don't encourage him. Don't make him worse. We're trying to improve Mr. Steve, not make him worse.
So, okay, well, I'm not sure, Mr. I'm not sure about that one.
Oh, okay.
Because this is my health you're talking about. If I don't get my sleep, you know what I'm like. I'm crabby, I'm moody.
Yes. I'm going to call him Mr. Krabby from now on. So it's no longer Mr. Steve. Instead, it will be Mr. Krabby with his crabby idiosyncrasies.
Nobody can believe it.
That's a good word, by the way.
Right, so what's the third one on the list that I've suggested you do as a New Year's resolution?
Oh, God. This might be the most boring thing ever.
I can't think, I don't know what I've written now.
You must have been running out of ideas.
You don't have to...
I think you must have been running out of ideas, Steve. Set up a monthly saving plan with an ISA.
Yes.
For goodness sake.
Yes.
Well, there are two things wrong with that. I have no interest in ISAs, and also I have no money to actually put into an ISA.
Everybody says they haven't got enough money to save.
But I don't. I live on YouTube. Trust me. I don't have an ISA.
Yeah, so what, just to give some sort of background...
oh no, please don't explain what an ISA is.
No, I'm not going to explain that. I'm just on about the concept of saving.
Yeah,
Mr. Duncan, the concept of saving is alien to Mr. Duncan.
All right. This is just turning into pillory.
So what you should do is you should put away a certain proportion of your meagre income, admittedly.
All right, yes.
Every month
I'm just a
from
poor,
YouTube.
I'm just a poor little YouTuber on the net. I'm just a little poor YouTuber on the net. Please feel sorry for me right now.
Maybe just sort of, I would like to say 20%. But you just put it away. It comes out of your bank every month, Mr. Duncan. I've done this my entire life.
What's 20% of nothing?
And then it just goes into a savings account. I'm not going to suggest you put it in a bank because the interest rate is 0. I'm going to suggest a sort of moderate, fairly safe savings plan that goes on in stocks and shares, so much a month, and then you forget about it for 10 years, and then you look at it and you've got this lovely surprise of a nice little pot of money.
10 years?
That you can use to buy a present for Mr. Steve.
I might be dead then.
I call it my Mustang fund.
Oh, okay.
So you can put money aside, your own money, for 10 years, and then there'll be enough to buy me a Ford Mustang.
Yes.
And by which time they'll all be banned.
I can save up to have my body frozen so I can be thawed out like a giant turkey at Thanksgiving, and I can see 2222. So maybe that is it. Maybe I could save some money, even though I don't earn any at all, or hardly, and I could save up to be frozen until
You're famous on YouTube?
The 23rd century. And then I can see the wonderful year where every numeral is number 2. 22, 22. Imagine that.
The thing with Mr. Duncan is Mr. Duncan doesn't really think about saving ever. But if you do it, every month, year in, year out, and just forget about it, then you will have a nice pot of money, in 10, 20, 30 years' time. Start young, save it. I mean, save at any age, but always save some. I think you should. What you can afford. So agree on a sum of money. I would say 20% would be nice, but maybe that's a bit too high for Mr. Duncan. And then you just leave it, you forget about it, and then it's there when you need money in an emergency.
Okay, Steve.
It's always there.
That's it. No one is replying to any of this, by the way.
But no, I think that's right. Okay, so the fourth. It's interesting. We both put 4, so we haven't got long.
Yeah. Well, actually, my original list was 50. I had 50.
Well, that was a wish list.
But then,
this looks more like a wish list to me, Mr. Duncan.
Well, that's what a resolution is. It's things that you want to achieve and things you want to hope.
Faults that you see in me that you want to correct. I think that's what this is.
Well, yes. Well, I know. Well, that's what resolutions tend to be.
Okay, so number 4, and the last one on your list of resolutions you want me to do, less micromanaging.
Yes.
Mr. Duncan.
So a good example, I am making a cup of tea for Mr. Steve or a cup of coffee. We will use coffee as an example. And I'm making the coffee and I'm putting the coffee, the little powder, into the cups. But then Steve will be standing nearby, sort of watching, sort of trying to see what I'm actually doing. Because at any moment, he needs to say something or correct me. And all I'm doing is a very simple task. So he's always around or nearby when I'm doing something. Maybe I'm putting some washing, some laundry in the machine. And he always checks, or he has a little look to see how much
not always
washing powder I use. Or he will ask, how much washing powder do you put in the washing machine when you're doing the washing? So he often micromanages. So micromanagement is when a person is watching all of the small things that you are doing, small jobs or things that don't seem very important, like making a cup of tea or doing the laundry.
Yes, but when you make a cup of tea, Mr. Duncan, it takes you about half an hour because you fill the kettle up and then leave it. Come back in 10 minutes, then you put the kettle on, bearing in mind you've put twice as much water in the kettle that you need to make 2 cups of coffee.
You've put too much water.
So that's a waste of energy to me. Yeah. Why fill the kettle up when it only has to be filled up enough for 2 cups?
Yes.
So sometimes Mr. Duncan doesn't realise, but I sometimes pour some of it out.
Well, I know you do. But I actually know you do. I know you do. Because I'm not. Can I just say that if you ever get to know me well, you will know that I never miss anything. My eyes, I'm like a hawk.
Yes.
I never miss anything. Steve does things sometimes, and he thinks I haven't noticed, but I have. And a good example is he will pour some of the water out of the kettle, and I know it's gone down. So normally it's there. And then it's there.
I can't stand the waste of electricity. I just don't know.
No, I know you do that.
And lots of other things. I am a bit of a micromanager.
Yes.
And I know it's annoying.
Tomek,
and I will try not to.
Tomek uses a good phrase, neck breathing. So yes, Steve is always just behind me. Breathing on my neck. It's like a person is just right behind you.
Sometimes when people do things and it's not the way you do it, it's just irritating.
Yes, he is. Vitas says that you are petty.
Thanks.
petty. That's a good one. Thank you, Vitas. I like that
Yeah,
one.
but how much electricity is wasted every year when Mr. Duncan fills the kettle right up? I bet it's about £5.
Yes, but that's, there's
I've
lots
got to
of
think of the planet.
there's lots of other waste. When you go upstairs, for example, at night and you switch every light in every room upstairs and then leave them all on. But he doesn't care about that.
I turn all the lights off.
You leave the lights.
They're only low energy anyway.
Yes, but if there's 4 or 5 of them, it all becomes.
There's a lot of
waste.
people on your side here, Mr.
There is.
Duncan.
I think you are on thin ice.
Yeah, but you have to, you need to live with somebody to know what, how annoying they can be.
Anyway, we've got number 4 because we are now at 4 o'clock.
Right, okay.
Number 4. Oh dear. This. I'm not sure if this is a resolution or one of my worst nightmares. I've had nightmares about this. It's not a resolution. This is possibly the worst nightmare. I wake up quite often at night screaming and crying to myself. Mr. Steve has put enter into a civil partnership with Mr. Steve.
Pardon? Yes. Well, it's been 30 years.
Why spoil something? Why ruin a good situation?
It's purely for tax purposes, Mr. Duncan.
Yes. So Steve thinks he wants me to sign a piece of paper that says that we are officially together.
Well, we're vulnerable, Mr. Duncan. I mean, let's face it. We've been together, how long? Was it 31 years? 32?
Nearly 32.
Neither of us are going anywhere else now. It's been going on for too long.
No one wants us.
So, exactly. So we may as well stick together. So the best thing to do is to, I'm not saying marriage because I don't think, marriage is...
Anyway.
A civil partnership means that if anything was to happen to one of us, for example, then everything would be easily passed on, inheritance,
That's
all that
it.
sort of thing.
So your
No one's going to argue with
So-
where the money goes.
So your family doesn't try to grab it all
exactly
from you.
I think they would.
Yes.
I can have all your YouTube fortune.
Yes. I am going to leave. You should be really pleased, Steve.
I'll be in debt if anything happened to Mr. Duncan.
Steve will get my YouTube channel. I'm going to leave it to you in my will.
Oh God!
So you'll have all of this. All this one day will be yours.
Let me just make a few corrections to this, Mr. Duncan.
I'm just trying to. You know what I'm trying to do here? I'm trying to put Mr. Steve off the idea. So maybe he will change his mind. So,
Anyway,
okay.
I'm just putting it out there. We have talked about it before, and I think 2022 could be. We'll do that. Could be the year to, make things official. Maybe we could do it in Paris.
Yes.
Yes.
Very
there's an
romantic.
idea.
We could do it at the top of the Eiffel Tower.
Montmartre.
My tears will be
Would be a good
falling.
place to do it.
My tears will be falling
A purely civil,
hundreds of feet.
a purely civil, whatever. Can't think of the word, Mr. Duncan.
I don't know what you're trying to say.
Yes,
Partnership.
non-religious.
Non-religious, yes. Yes, it won't be religious. Well, most countries don't allow it anyway. They don't allow... Well, we don't want one. I mean, we're not into all of that, the marriage in the churches and things, so we wouldn't do that anyway. But
There are... Yes, what is the difference between a civil partnership and a marriage? I looked it up before we came on today.
okay.
The only real difference is the religious aspect. That's the only real difference. And in the UK, it might be different laws in different countries, but it means if you want a divorce, okay, if you want a divorce, I was looking this up, then there are several reasons that you can cite for wanting a divorce. You can have lived apart for 2 years, unreasonable behaviour by your partner.
That's him.
But another one is adultery.
Oh my God.
But you can only cite adultery as a reason for getting a divorce or an annulment of the partnership
Yeah.
if it's a marriage. You can't use that as an excuse if it's a civil partnership, because obviously adultery has religious connotations.
So you definitely to stop the civil partnership, you just have to kill the other person.
Well, but you can't use adultery as a reason, whereas you can if it's a marriage.
Okay.
Interesting. That's practically the only difference, because legally and in terms of inheritance and tax, they're all the same.
This is so boring, by the way.
So yeah, but anyway, no, I'm just saying. But that's the difference. So that's a personal thing.
You just take the fun out of everything.
I'm not taking the fun out of
Like
it.
a wedding or a civil partnership is often something that lots of people feel happy about. But Steve still manages to turn it into something really dull and cold, like yesterday's mud. So enter into a civil partnership. I'm not sure about that. We will have to think about that one. Maybe another 32 years.
So that's it. Anyway, I just thought,
Yeah.
we've talked about it for years and never done anything.
I think these are great suggestions.
I think these are more of a wish list.
No, I think they're not.
You wish I would be more patient.
Yeah.
You wish I would be a better listener.
Yes.
You wish I would stop complaining about your snoring, and you wish that I would be less micromanaging towards you.
Yes.
Highly unlikely that any of those will occur. I'm joking. I will certainly try,
Well,
Mr. Duncan.
I will not take daily walks. I will not take a holiday with Mr. Steve. I will not set up a monthly saving ISA, and I will definitely not.
An ISA, by the way, is a tax-free savings package.
Steve,
if anyone's interested.
Stop it. Oh, you're sucking the life out of everything. Steve, and I will definitely not enter into a civil partnership with Mr. Steve, not after all this.
Yeah, well, as Valentina says, the energy bills are going to go up. They've already gone up, unfortunately.
When Mr. Steve starts going out to his choir practice, I'm going to turn everything in the house. I'm going to switch everything on. The kettle, the dishwasher, all of the lights, everything. The heating, I'm going to put the heating up to maximum.
Well, you do that anyway.
I do that anyway.
That's the other thing. I go out for an evening,
Yes.
and I come back, and the house is like a hot house.
A hot house.
It's like being in a sauna.
Sauna, that's a better one.
I like to keep it at around 21. That's the other thing I do. I secretly turn the heating off when Mr. Duncan isn't looking.
Is that 21 Celsius or Fahrenheit?
Well, Celsius. Fahrenheit would be rather on the cold side.
Yes, well, that's my point. That's the point I just made.
Yes. Yes, Bogdan says, accept each other as you are. Well, yes, we're sort of joking in a way. Well, we're not sort of joking. I mean, you obviously wrote yours with things in mind
Yes.
that you want me to change, and I have done the same to you. So, yes. But we do it, I think we do accept
perhaps
each
we
other
could-
the way we are. We do.
Okay, Steve, that might be another resolution, by
Heavy
the way.
says Ivan.
Know when to end your sentence. We could go to France. And maybe have a civil partnership in France. And
If
have
they do them.
Have a very... I think that civil partnerships exist, but I think you have to be French.
Oh, I've just realised we've got to get... It can't be marriage, it's got to be civil partnership, because Tomek has said that if you're into adultery, you know where to find me.
Oh, I see.
So obviously, I could, a liaison with Tomek, and you couldn't divorce me because it would be a civil partnership, and adultery is not a reason for you to end the relationship.
Yes. Don't worry. You're welcome, Tomek. You're welcome to him.
I've made a riddle, says Ivan. Would you like to try it? Yes, we would.
Ivan has a riddle. I had one of those before I came on the live stream.
Valentin's got another resolution for you to gain more subscribers in the new year, to keep on producing new videos. Well, I think you will be doing that.
I have been trying to do that for the past 15 years. This year it will be 16 years. Can you believe it? Can you stop doing that with your pen?
Are you micromanaging me, Mr. Duncan?
He's fidgeting.
There we go.
He's sitting here. He's standing
I'm
here.
not the only one that micromanages.
Yes, but I'm just getting
See,
this is my revenge.
Live.
Okay, Steve.
Mr. Duncan's taken the pen off me because I like to sort of fiddle around with it.
This is what Steve
You
does.
see, he talks about me micromanaging. Look at Mr. Duncan.
He's
Evidence.
tapping the pen. Stop it.
Micromanaging. That's hypocrisy, Mr. Duncan. Hypocrisy.
So yes, Tomek, if you want him, I will leave him around the back next to the dustbin, next to all the garbage, and I will put Mr. Steve next to it, and then you can take it away. And Mr. Steve, you can take him with you. Okay? So you're welcome. No problem. We will be back next Sunday because it's time to go. Can you believe it? I can't believe how fast today's live stream has gone. But it has gone fast. We've been on now for 2 hours and 10 minutes.
I don't know. He likes to give and he likes to take away.
Apparently Tomek was referring.
That's what I mean. Yes.
Tomek was referring to Vittoria, not us.
Well, you know, he knows how to make somebody depressed and unhappy.
Angela says, do you always read the chat after the show, Mr. Duncan? Yes, well, I do. Quite often I will put the live stream on later on, and then I like to read the live chat as if I am taking part in the live chat. So I always like to read the live chat.
Here we go. Here's Ivan's rhyme. I shall read. Snap your fingers and I'll be there. No need to find me. I'm everywhere where. Sometimes I don't stay for long. If you want me again, just sing a song. What am I?
One of Mr. Steve's farts.
Pardon?
I don't know.
Thank you for that. And with that, I will go and put the kettle
Well,
on.
we want the answer to the riddle. That's not the answer.
What? Oh, what? Oh, yes, I see. Yes. Oh, yes, of course.
I'm starting to think that Mr.
Snap your
Steve
fingers and I'll be there.
Mr. Steve doesn't know what a riddle is.
No need to find me. I'm everywhere. Sometimes I don't stay for long. If you want me again, just sing a song. What am I? Oh, and you said a fart. Well, that could be, yes. Snap your fingers and I'll be there. Now, what comes when you snap your fingers?
Snap your fingers and I'll be there. I smell like Mr. Steve's underwear. Yes, it says that.
No need to find me. I'm everywhere. What could that be,
We've
Mr. Duncan?
got to keep talking, you see.
What could that
If we go
be?
silent, YouTube starts to panic.
Well, we don't know what that is, but
I
we'd
have
like to know.
I have no idea. Please give us the answer to the riddle that you set for us. And then we can go.
What's the answer, Ivan? Sound. Of course.
Sound. Oh, yeah, sound.
Oh,
Sound.
very clever.
Sound.
Thank you. That's a good one.
The sound.
Now, I'm going to go and make a cup of tea, and I will fill the kettle up with precisely the amount of water required for 2 cups of tea,
How boring.
thus only using up the energy necessary to make a small amount of water. And I will see you all, hopefully, next Sunday.
Yes. The end of the sentence is coming.
It's been great today. Hope you've enjoyed it. I've enjoyed it. I think Mr. Duncan has.
It's been all right.
So I will say bye for now and have a lovely week. Your first week of the new year. Our first week of the new year. And, well, I'm back to work on Tuesday because we've got a bank holiday tomorrow.
Yes, we have a
public holiday tomorrow.
We have a lovely day off tomorrow.
Because Christmas fell on Saturday, which means we get an extra day off.
Yes.
On the but that doesn't happen in every country. So I'm not working tomorrow, but I'm back to work Tuesday, so no doubt I'll be depressed by Friday.
Yes, no doubt. If not by the end of today.
Bye-bye.
Thank you, Mr. Steve. It's been lovely having you here, and we will see you next Sunday. And there it was, Mr. Steve playing with the little animals. Wasn't that lovely? And yes, it is almost time to say goodbye. Mr. Steve wants to show something. Oh, okay. There
Now, I want to show you, Mr. Duncan.
Yes?
All right, that's the level required for 2 cups of tea.
Okay.
Not here. Not here.
What about
Here.
here?
Not here.
What about if the water is just flowing everywhere?
I think I'll draw a line across there.
I think I'm going to draw a line as well. I'm going to draw a line that says Mr. Steve can't keep coming on and disturbing me. I will see you next Sunday. Thank you very much for your attention and also your participation today. And can I say once again, thank you very much for the photograph and all of your lovely responses and replies and all your best wishes for the new year. Thank you very much. I do appreciate everything. Thank you very much to Marcia, Claudia, Beatrice and also Sandra for sending that lovely photo. You have made the end of my year very special indeed. Thank you very much. It's almost time to go. It's almost time to say goodbye. But I will be back with you next Sunday from 2 p.m. UK time. I hope you have a good week and I hope the rest of your year will be super duper as well. Thanks for watching. See you very soon. This is Mr. Duncan in the birthplace of English saying thank you very much for joining me today. See you later. And of course, until the next time we meet here, you know what's coming next. Have a happy 2022 and ta-ta for now.